users to come up with ideas. We can summarize them in basically what's on the slide. A lot of mashing up of technologies, a lot of looking back at what old technologies used to do and combining them with new technologies using crowdsourcing. So I'm going to go through a couple of them. This is not ours, this is Berkeley's. This is called the cell scope. When you mash up a microscope and a cell phone, all of a sudden you have a new device. It's a mobile diagnostic reader tool. When you context shift a device, where you take the same application but you shift it dramatically to a different type of sector, you come up with something that, in this case, is the Aerovax. The story behind Aerovax was that Albert Sabin, the inventor of polio, polio vaccine, went to Mexico, saw a crop duster during a vaccine campaign, and said, what if we could just crop dust populations? And that notion started this whole field of inhalable drug delivery for vaccines. A doctor in Miami wanted to inject trauma patients very, very quickly with 8 different types of injections in under a minute. And he saw his 6-year-old son playing with a Nerf gun. So what you have now is the Dragon gun. And I'm sure it hurts really badly, but it does help the patient. Our students in D-Lab Health combined traditional colorimetric tests and actually went and found even more rare colorimetric tests that have correlations with glucose levels and added modern sensor systems that can really calibrate the amount of sugar in the blood. And now you have a $5 glucometer with 1-cent strips. People in Stanford went to Mexico again and saw that people were using Coke bottles instead of asthma spacers, because that device in blue is about $40, Coke bottle is free, you cut off the bottom, and you have a spacer for asthma. But they went a step further and said, what if you use origami? And now you have a company called Respira that distributes these devices in Mexico. And again, in closing, we think this is an exciting field. We're happy that you guys are joining us. And you know, you see a lot of these, I'm sorry this is in Spanish, I put this slide up right now. This is an innovation index by a consulting company. You've seen all of these all over the magazines, they do them all the time. And usually, you know, the usual suspects, Japan is always over here, like the extreme left. And of course, the United States is always trying to rush over. Finland is over. You know, the usual suspects are about in the first inch of that chart. And then when you look at what's going on over here, this is sort of your developing world view. And we think that there's a new type of metric that needs to be developed based on the user, based on people, not based on the traditional methods that we calibrate growth with. Because when we see these index charts, our experience seems to buck the trend. We see people in Tanzania developing lab-on-a-chip devices. New tests for tuberculosis being developed in Peru using containers labs that fit on containers. Our work in Pakistan using smart epidemiological tools, and the Nicaraguan TB test that was developed by local scientists using Coke bottles and chemistry. So this encourages us to keep doing what we're doing, and we welcome you on board. So.